What's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams with Making Money with Stephen A. Williams here on YouTube. And in today's video, we are going to talk about that feeling that you get when you try to do something to better yourself and you just seem to not be able to get any traction. It's like you take a step forward, take a step back. And it just seems like all of these things boil up inside of you, and it gives you this feeling. And that feeling is that you just can't do it. Like that's, it's like you go up on a level where you get to a higher level of thinking, and then all of a sudden you come back down. And I'm gonna help you out with this type of thinking, because this is one of the things that destroys people's dreams. It makes it hard for people to be able to move forward. Not to say that some people aren't able to. I admit, before I learned this stuff that I'm teaching you right now, is that I would just take what I call a leap of faith and just go for it. But now it's more than just going for it. It's understanding how the human, how our minds work, and how we can actually use that leap of faith to our advantage. Like, if you just know that you have to take that leap of faith rather than just taking it to be able to get to where you want to be, it'll make the process a lot easier, and it'll take away some of the feelings, because you're just like, hey, this is just part of the whole process. And that's what we're going to talk about here. Please like this video. Please share this video. Please post your questions and comments. So let's get right to it. What most of the time, this is what goes through our mind, is that we're sitting here, and the things that we're trying to do that are new, things that we're not used to doing, things that are going to either take financial investment or a huge investment on your part for time, or to just where you don't know the outcome. Like, it's easy for someone to do something and they know the outcome that's going to happen. Like, it's easy for you to go to work and you know you're going to get paid at the end of the week. But it's hard for you to start a business and then make an investment in yourself and then know that it's going to work out. That's where all of this inner stuff starts to happen. So first, let's talk about what happens with people when they try to do something on the outside. All of these doubts come to our minds. Is how to. Like, one of the biggest things that is the biggest sellers that's out there is how to, but nobody tells people how to deal with what you're going to go through when you learn how to do something. That's why there's so many how-to books on how to invest in real estate, how to invest in the stock market, how to start a business, how to do all of these types of things. But soon as people learn how to, they start to have this feeling in their inner, I call it the heart. And that's because now you know how to. Now you have to go through a process of putting that into action. And when you start to put that into action, you start to have self-doubt. You start to have worries about, will it work for you? So you could see something work for somebody else, but soon as you try to put it into action, you will start to think and feel, will it work for you? And that's going to be based off of what is your limiting beliefs on the inside. That's why you can have some people get information and they're able to go out there and be successful. And then you have other people that have the same information and they're not able to go out there and be successful. You will have attorneys that are more successful than other attorneys. They went to the same schools. They got the same information. They have access to the same information. So what makes one person different than another person is because one person overcame the worries, the self-doubt. They understand how to, but that's not as important as what I'm going to go over with you over here. So they have limiting beliefs about, will it work for them? They're thinking, like, with everything that they went through with their life, they don't have enough money to do something. They don't have the same education as someone. Like, all of these limiting beliefs come. And what I'm here to tell you to do is you got to put all of that aside. So what you have to do to reverse that, and this takes work, you have to practice this. The more you practice this, the more you will be creative. That's what it's all about. Like, people try to go out and make money when all you have to do is be creative, and money will come and find you. That's the crazy thing about it. The more creative you are, the more you believe in yourself. Money says, I gotta go and sit with this person over here. The other person that has these limiting beliefs, you're gonna do things to repel money from you. You're either gonna give it away with a whole bunch of buying how-to stuff, because no matter what, you're gonna still have self-doubt. So what people do is they just say, okay, let me learn how to do this. Let me learn how to do that. Let me learn how to do, when all it is because you have this limiting belief. If you can learn one good how-to and get rid of your limiting beliefs, and you will be off and running, and money will attract to you instead of you repelling money. Right now, if you stay on this side, you're going to repel money, because every time you learn something, you're going to end up going through that self-doubt process. You're going to be worrying about, will it work? And when I say, will it work? You know that it works for other people because you see them. You're going to start saying, will it work for you? And the only reason why it doesn't work for you is because you had those limiting beliefs. You got to get rid of the limiting beliefs. We all have them, and we have to start to tear those limiting beliefs down, because they do not matter. So how do we do that? How do we get rid of those limiting beliefs? The first thing is that you got to get the feeling. You don't do anything that you don't feel like doing. We don't do anything that we don't feel like doing. So the way to get our minds into that process of making us feel good is to visualize what we want. So if you want to be successful in business, you need to visualize yourself doing what needs to be done, and more than what needs to be done, visualizing yourself doing it, having fun, going through the process. Like what I do is, for me making these videos, I make them very early in the morning. I get to work like 6 o'clock. And it's like, hey, I visualize myself the day before what I'm going to talk about, how I'm going to help you, how being able to be a man that is able to just say, hey, I'm in charge of my own life. I'm in charge of my own businesses, and this is what I want to do. And as a matter of fact, I had visualized myself doing this when I was younger. Before YouTube, before the internet and all of that, I used to drive around in my car like I was talking to people. And now look at me now, years later, what am I doing? I'm talking to people. So if you visualize, then all of a sudden the universe will let all of that stuff start to meet up with you. You don't have to worry about all that logic and all that stuff. So you visualize. When you visualize, you will start to have better feelings with your heart, where you'll be like, okay, it's like a calming feeling. But you still have to do that work. You have to work on your beliefs. And the way to work on your beliefs is to become the believer. How can you become the believer if you have limiting beliefs? And that's the way you become the believer, is by picturing yourself doing what you want to be doing. So if you want to write a book, you want to be an author, to write a book, you have to get some paper out and start writing. You don't need to write the whole book. You need to do it. You need to do it. I've written small books, not like, business books. Before, I wrote, I think, 7 different books about my experience with different opportunities that I took advantage of with business. When I think back, when I wrote those, I didn't write them all in one day, even though they're very small, like 40, 50, 60, 70 pages. I wrote them a little bit at a time. It was like, I'm going to write this book, and I kept it in my mind, the reason why I'm writing this book, and I visualized it. I visualized helping people. I visualized helping myself. I visualized getting something done, rather than, oh, you didn't go to school to write books, or you didn't get trained on writing books, or why are you writing this book? Because it's not going to sell anyway. I didn't worry about that stuff. What I worried about is what I visualized in my own mind about writing that book. And that's what you need to do. So you need to become the believer. When you become the believer, that means that you get rid of all of the logic stuff on the outside. You get rid of all the doubt on the outside. You get rid of all the people on the outside that put you in a situation where you feel inferior, or your ego, or whatever. Because those people will come and they will try to do those things to you, because you're stepping out and you're saying, I believe in myself. When I say believer, you believe in yourself. This comes back at you. It's like you looking at this mirror and you're like, I believe in myself. You look at yourself in that mirror and you say this to yourself. Some people have a hard time doing this. I did this for myself for 6 months in a row. I wrote my goals, 2 short sentences, and I said it 10 times a day in the morning, 10 times at night. I thought it, I visualized it. Within 4 months, I had reached a financial goal that I had wrote on there. And that's because in my mind, no matter what, it was going to happen. Once you cross that line, none of this stuff will happen. So, but to do that work, it's like exercising your mind. You have to become the believer. And I'm here to tell you from someone who experiences this. When you become the believer, people come to you. Ideas come to you. Money comes to find you, not where you're chasing money. Now, you have to make this work, you have to withdraw logic. What I mean by that, let me define it. Anything that makes you feel like it's not going to work, that's logic. Now, you might be saying, well, Steve, what if I have an idea and it's just not a good idea? You don't know that yet. See, one of the biggest problems that a lot of people have is that they don't play things all the way out. You could play it all the way out, and I guarantee you this. This is what's happened to me. I've done ideas. Like, let me put together this. It was like an advertising campaign. Let's put that on there. Let's just put it into action, see what happens. And if it fails, we go to plan B. If plan B fails, we go to plan C. C fails, we go to plan D. What most people do is they go to plan A, and when plan A fails, they stop, and then they go find another how-to. Because they're like, that don't work. When it was all because of their limiting beliefs, because of their worries about will it work for them. When you start to do that work and you get more into the visualization of it working, what will end up happening is maybe sometimes stuff doesn't work the first time, but because you're in that creative mode, you'll be like, okay, well, let's try this. And then let's try that. And let's try that. And then all of a sudden, you will start to see, this is how we can make that work. We thought it was going to work this way. We have our goal. We know what our ultimate goal is on what we want, but maybe the picture is going to be a little bit different. That's why I say, don't focus so much on the how-to. You can say, well, it has to be done this way, and if it don't work that way, it's not going to work. That's not true. You need to have a picture in your mind of what you want. Playing that record, so to speak, over and over, and then you will see certain things will be created to make that work. That's what you have to be open to. But you won't be open to that if you don't get used to becoming the believer, and you change those limiting beliefs, and you withdraw the logic. Withdraw the logic. I'm going to be the one that tell you, withdraw the logic, because I'm a man that's standing here in front of you that started a business in 1990, literally with $500. My wife and I, we both take credit on this, with literally $500, and turned that into multiple millions of dollars. And that was before the internet came about. That was before we had access to cell phones. So I'm here to tell you that it is possible. And there were friends and family who thought we were crazy for doing it. But we had our goal in mind, and we did not know necessarily how it was going to work out. But let me tell you what happened is that when we put our plan into action, people that we never knew about, businesses that we never knew about that were in a whole other cities, like 60, 70 miles away from where we were at, and these connections just started coming. And if we had that that will it work for me mentality, if we stayed with our limiting beliefs, if we thought that we had to know it all about how to make it work, I would not be standing right here today. All of that played a part in the success in my life and with the many businesses that I have owned and with the businesses that I still currently own. So it will come to you, but it will not come to you if you sit there and have those limiting beliefs and if you don't withdraw the logic. The logic is the thing that holds so many people back, is the logic. And before we move forward, I want to say that you work on one thing first, one success, and then you add on the others. That was one of the lessons that we learned, is that when I look back at 1990, what we did is we chose that business and we made that business a success before we did anything else. And you got to do that. That's one of the lessons that some people don't tell you about. And then you need to visualize constantly what you want. You got to visualize it. The visualization will overcome all of these problems that you that you believe exist with these outer feelings. And you got to just let it work. You got to let it work where you become that full person. Let it work. Let it work. All of this, just let it work. Let it all work. Let it all work. And you do this. This is where you concentrate it, and you will see that your business will become successful, or whatever you try to accomplish in your life, you will see that success will come. So thank you for your time. Please post your questions and comments. Please like this video. Please share. And if you need help with any type of marketing services, or you just want to have a consultation to kind of get you to the next step, where you can just say, Steve, this is where I'm at, and then I can give you some information on what I would do if I was in your situation. Links are above or below this video. Thank you for your time. This is Stephen A. Williams with